Welcome. I'm Paula's True Pet Gardener, and my friend Elsa asked me to give her a little bit more information about restorative yoga, as it's something that I feel strongly can really help people heal inside and outside. There are other videos that I've made that go into greater depth about what restorative yoga is, and there are other videos that offer you more of the complex, prop intensive poses, but I'm keeping things very simple today so that you and Elsa can do this today. Do it right away and appreciate why and how and what you're doing, and above and beyond and beneath all else, so that you feel and cultivate the feel of being worthy to take care of yourself, to heal yourself, to savor yourself, to soften. So restorative yoga is different from all kinds of other yoga in that it is not a practice of doing, it's a practice of being. There is no stretching. It is on a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is the most active, a flow yoga class, for example, or practice, and where a yin yoga would be a 1 or a 2, this is a 0 or a -1. Because restorative yoga is meant to soothe your nervous system so that it can function optimally, so that you feel and can exercise your creativity more easily, so that you can love and feel loved more readily, and so that you can go out into the world and do and be exactly as it is you would want to do and be. This is for all of us who are worrying our way to be true to ourselves, to live from our heart, and to create the life that we love. So before we do anything, I invite you to find a comfortable place to sit for just a moment with your eyes closed or with your gaze soft. And I invite you to just check in. What are you feeling? And where are you feeling it in your mind, body, spirit? Because in the Ayurveda tradition, mind, body, spirit are one. What we do for or to one, we do for or to the others. So whatever I do for my body benefits my mind and spirit. Whatever I do for my spirit benefits my mind and body. Whatever I do for my mind benefits my body and spirit. We are one. And so I invite you to close your eyes or soften your gaze and ask yourself, how am I feeling? What am I feeling of mind, body, spirit? What am I feeling physically, mentally, emotionally? And you don't have to name it. Just purely feel it. Notice you. Notice you without judging, without shaming, without criticizing, without a to-do list. Feel your breath. Notice where you feel it as it comes into the body. Notice where you feel it as it flows through the body. Notice where you feel it as it begins flowing out of the body. And notice where you feel it as it exits the body. Noticing. Awareness gives direction, intention gives direction to our awareness, and our awareness is the seat of all growth and change. My dad always said, Rome wasn't built in a day. So I encourage you to consider that we are moving in the direction of all that we desire. We're moving in the direction of, that's why it's called practice. We're practicing doing all of these things that we want to do. Because my father was not always the most patient man either. He also said, do as I say, not as I do. And it was when my sons were born and growing up that I realized he had an incredible meta sense of himself, knowing that he didn't do all the things he instructed us or asked us to do, but he was very aware of their importance and the importance of sharing them with us. So just because I'm sharing this information with you and this practice with you, please don't get the idea that I do it every single day of my life like I advocate, that I do everything as I say, because we're all human and we do the best we know how. And on any given day, at any given moment, that could be exactly as we want it to be, or it could be a reasonable facsimile of what we would like to be and what we're working toward, moving in the direction of. So, restorative yoga is a practice of being and not of doing. And what I am realizing is this: the simpler we can make it, the more enticing it becomes, and the more likely it is that we will actually do it. So while experiencing a full-blown prop-intensive restorative practice, or just one pose, one shape, really can change the landscape, the inner landscape and the outer landscape, we're more likely to do something that is super easily accessible. So what I'm sharing with you today is super easily accessible. And I'm going to show you what you need, but I'm encouraging you to use what you have. Go around your house, find things, improvise all the time. If you are inclined at any given moment to go lie on your sofa and put pillows under your knees and let that be your restorative practice, I say go for it. And if you fall asleep, it's because you need to. When I first started practicing restorative yoga, it was because I had injured myself repeatedly, and I had gotten to the point where I really needed to step away from a very physically active practice. And for a solid year, all I did was one of two yoga poses: legs up the wall, a very, very basic version, or the stream, which I'm going to show you today. A solid year. I continued to teach yoga, but my practice was wholly restorative. And at the end of that year, I was not only fully healed, I felt stronger and I felt more flexible than I had ever been when I was practicing only my very active yoga practice. So the opportunities are endless, and we're limited only by our creativity. Once you get a feel for how it is to be in a restorative yoga shape. So one of the easiest things, I'm not even going to show you, one of the easiest things is to lie on the floor with a pillow under your head and put your legs up on either a sofa, the seat of a chair, or a couple of cushions so that your feet are higher than your buttocks, and lie there. You can put a pillow on your belly, but it helps to receive the effects of gravity. It softens the muscles in your abdomen, which soften the muscles in your lower back. It's super easy. Set a timer for 3, 4, 5, 7, 15 minutes if you've got that 15 minutes. Never be afraid to shift yourself when your body starts to let you know, I need to move a little bit, or I'm not liking this position anymore. Trust your body, trust yourself first, not exclusively, but first. I encourage you to remember always, to remind yourself, because it's impossible to remember always, to remind yourself daily and throughout your day, you're worth the work, you're worth the time. And so here is the stream. All you'll need is a pillow under your head or a cushion or a folded up blanket and something under your knees. You can, if you have one, use a yoga bolster, round or rectangular. You can use beach towels. You can use blankets. I like to take 2 blankets. This is a yoga blanket, but you don't have to have a yoga blanket. I like to take 2 blankets or 2 beach towels when I have them and begin rolling them so that it's thick under my knees. It's about the equivalent of a yoga bolster. It just feels a little softer. So this will go under my knees. You don't need a yoga mat to practice yoga. You don't need a yoga mat to practice restorative yoga. If you have some sort of an eye pillow, please feel free to use it. If you don't, use a washcloth, use a towel, use the hood of your sweatshirt. If you're wearing one, cover your eyes, because one of the principles of a really healthy restorative yoga practice is dark. So there's warmth, quiet, stillness, and dark. You do the best you can with those 4. The reason for the warmth focus is that as we relax, our body starts to cool, and you cannot really relax when you're feeling cool or you're getting cooler. So start over warm and it'll be very comfortable for you. And if it's not, if it's a super hot day and what you want is the breath of the air on your skin, then feel free to do it that way. So here we are for stream. And I'm actually going to move a little bit closer to you. This is under my knees and it's rolled up. It's not totally round, although you can make it that way. And I'm lying back, unfolding or unwrinkling my mat as I do so. And I'm putting my head on the cushion. Now, because I don't like the way it feels to have space back here, I feel scrunchy in my lower back, like there's too much flesh getting in the way. So I lift my feet up onto the support that was meant for my knees. I lift my butt a little bit and I pull the flesh toward my heels. And now when I come back to the mat, I'm very comfortable against the mat. You may not have that extra flesh, but I do. And so I take care of that. When you are lying down, you want to make sure that whatever is under your head is supporting you in a way that your forehead is higher than your chin. Because when we're here, this activates our mind, and then it becomes nearly just a lot of work to try and soften and relax and quiet everything. I personally prefer stillness, or quiet and no music, but if you find that music helps soothe you, please feel free to play some soft music for yourself. You can leave your hands on your belly. You can bring your arms out wide if that's comfortable for you. You can bring your hands alongside your arms I'm sorry, your hands alongside your side bodies, your arms along your body. And you can rest your hands on the pinky side of your hands. Or if it's more comfortable for you, you can have your palms facing up. I used to do it that way. And now I like resting my hands and arms on the pinky side of my hands. And when you first come into the pose, give yourself a moment to do two things. Check in, like we did at the beginning. What am I feeling? Where am I feeling it? And to set an intention for your shape, for your pose, for your 5 or 10 or 20 minutes of being in this restorative position. Intentions, as I said earlier, give direction to our awareness. And so we set an intention no matter what it is. Maybe it's just to soften. Maybe it's to be here and be present to ourselves. Maybe it's to be curious about how we're feeling. Maybe it's to heal some part of our body that is not feeling well or doing well at this point in time. I encourage you to choose one because there's great power in one. And you can do something different every time you give yourself the gift of a restorative practice. Once you're lying down, once you set your intention, I invite you to notice where you're bracing. Where are you holding yourself away from the mat? For me, that's always my back. When I check in and I ask myself, where am I bracing? Invariably, it's somewhere between my shoulder blades. It's keeping my lower back and my middle back away from the mat. The interesting thing is, as soon as I acknowledge that, as soon as I bring awareness to it, that body part or those body parts begin to soften and release and let me sink in to the support of this floor of the earth beneath me. Whatever your mind does, let it do. If it's racing with all the things, the to-do things that you have on your list, let it do that. Because eventually, by just letting it happen, it begins to release its grip on you, and you begin to release your grip on it. The softness in your body begins to soften your mind, begins to slow the mind. Some days it works, some days it doesn't. Let it be what it is. Simply commit to yourself to stay here, even if you're squirmy, commit to being here for 5 minutes or your 10 minutes if that's what you have. If there's anything that's uncomfortable, besides the very fact that you're here, if there's anything that's uncomfortable, any position that you're in, shift it and support it. Maybe your hands or your arms are really stiff and sore from arthritis, and you can't relax it on the floor. So take a pillow or a blanket and put it under your wrist or put it under your hand so that your wrist is actually relaxing rather than extending. And see how that feels. When you are ready to come up, I encourage you to put first one foot, then the other, on whatever support was under your knees, and then turn to your favorite side and rest here for several breaths. And now slowly and sideways, lift yourself to a seated position, letting your head come up last. And before you hurry off to the rest of your day, to the rest of your to-do list, Let me reiterate my encouragements. Remember, remind yourself you're worth the work. Trust yourself and your body first, not exclusively, but first. Do what feels good in and for your mind, body, spirit. The more we do these things that help heal us, the easier it is to do these things that help heal us. Remember always that if you have questions, please feel free to write me at wowwithpaula@gmail.com. There's other ways to get in touch with me that are listed below. All that you do, do it with joy. Many blessings.